Thanks for watching. Go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell icon so you get notified of each new video as it comes out.
Hey everybody, I'm JJ Johnson. You're watching Reality Survival. So today I want to talk about a philosophy or a concept that I've heard people put out on social media and in comments of videos that I've done in the past and stuff like that, that's talking about the general idea of trying to make your home look like it's abandoned, or that it's already been ransacked, or whatever the case may be, that nobody lives there, you know, that kind of thing, as opposed to trying to make your home look like a hard target. Okay, I guess we could call this kind of like the gray man method versus the hard target method for your house, right? For not specifically for people. So before we get going with that, I just want to let everybody know that I have a channel over at Gunstreamer now. I'll throw a link down here and in the description below where you can check that out. I would really appreciate it if you guys go over to and subscribe to the Gunstreamer channel. For the next probably few months, I will be doing, you know, all the videos except for firearm related content on YouTube, and then after a certain point, when I get, you know, a few folks subscribed over there on the other channel, you know, a few hundred or something like that, then we'll start doing the majority of the content over on Gunstreamer. So I'm just transitioning away from YouTube. I don't like the way they're censoring free speech and all that kind of stuff, and I would really like to get away from their system. And so I'm just kind of in the transitioning phases to going to that. Gunstreamer's a really cool platform, and they're pro Second Amendment, and everything's been working really smoothly so far. So I think it's going to work out pretty good. So anyhow, let's talk about this concept. So the first idea is the kind of the gray man concept, or the abandoned home concept. The general, and I don't have any notes on this one. I'm just going off the top of my head. So if I forget something important, sorry about that. Do the best you can to try to figure out what I'm saying here. But I guess the idea is that you want to take some trash and put some trash out in your yard and make it look like, maybe pull some furniture out or something, or kind of make it look like the house has already been ransacked and that there's nothing, you know, of value left. And then the theory is that people would pass that by and not go in anymore, not bother you. And then the other side of the coin is the side of the coin that says try to make your house look like a hard target so that people won't want to mess with you. Okay, and the idea here is, you know, is obviously to maybe put fence out, you know, strand barbed wire, have, you know, defensive fighting positions dug, you know, roadblocks at the end of your street. You know, working in conjunction, you know, I suppose working in conjunction with your neighbors is what makes the most sense, and that I don't think really fits neatly into this discussion, although that is what I highly recommend, and I've talked about that tons and tons of times. But let's just say it's, you know, just your houses, and you don't have a whole neighborhood defense plan and all that kind of stuff. And then maybe you've got some sandbags, you know, inside the home, close to windows and stuff, where you can, you know, have different lanes of fire and all that kind of jazz. You know, making it look like maybe even windows boarded up so you don't have glass coming in and stuff. Making the house look like it's kind of hardened and going to be a little bit more difficult to get into. Okay, so here's the reason that I don't like the abandoned house theory, and that is primarily has to do with the nature of criminals themselves. Okay, so somebody who's roaming house to house to take your stuff is a criminal, right? And they are not going to be wanting to get into you know, a conflict, because they're gonna have seen. We're talking about a SHTF situation where we don't have utilities, we don't have, you know, public services. It's a grid down kind of thing. It's a bad deal, right? So in the first couple of months of that happening, there's going to be a lot of chaos, right? And people are going to learn quickly that it's very easy to get killed in a gunfight on both sides, okay? Good guys, bad guys, everybody's going to figure it out. And real quick, people are, even though criminals are dumb, when it comes to saving their own lives, they're more smart than you might think. And they're going to figure out that going into places that are hard targets is what gets you killed. And going into places that are abandoned and look like they're ramshackled will most often turn up to be a non-event. And so they'll go into those places and they'll look for stuff and they'll find stuff occasionally, and they're going to do this on lots of different houses and places that have been abandoned and people that have been killed and all that kind of stuff, and they're going to have a few windfalls. And so the preference of those kinds of people who are doing that activity is going to be to loot those houses that look like they're not being lived in, because it's easier. They can take their time, they can look through everything, they don't have to challenge people, they don't have to worry about getting shot at and all that kind of stuff. Now, so we have the internet commandos, and in the comments and all that kind of stuff, and you'll hear them say on a regular basis, well, it only takes one Molotov cocktail to burn you out. And to that I say, yeah, if you're sleeping and not paying any attention in the middle of the night or whenever the case may be, sure, somebody can light your house on fire. Yeah, that makes common sense. But if you have a security posture, if you have any degree of situational awareness like you should have, then they're going to have to get close enough to your house to throw it, and that's pretty damn close. And if they're getting that close to your house, maybe you need to do something to up your security, right? Because you ideally don't want to be defending your home from your front doorstep. You want to be defending it from the edge of your property or even further out. Obviously, that would be the best case scenario, the further out you can go, like out at the edge of your neighborhood and all those kinds of things. But let's say they make it into your neighborhood, or you don't have a neighborhood defense plan like we said. You should at least have some stuff out there to keep them from coming in so quickly. Like I said, strands of barbed wire. You could take, limbs and stuff and throw down there to make it an obstacle and to make it harder to come through. Stuff that looks like cover, but is only concealment even, because that way you can shoot right through it going that way. But it's tanglefoot, it's a lot of difficult stuff to get through. Rocks and boulders can be part of it. I would stay away from those because it gives them something to shoot behind, though. You'll have to look at the layout of the land and figure out what it is that you want to use, but you want to have some stuff that makes it difficult for them to get close to your house and gives you the opportunity to shoot them before they get to you. And then once in the house, then you have like I said, sandbags and different things set up in different locations so that you can have places to shoot from cover and all that kind of stuff, so that they are at a disadvantage even if they do enter your house. Okay. Now, I suppose that there's, nothing to say that you couldn't try to do a combination of the two and have the interior of your home kind of fortified and make the exterior look like it's abandoned. But even still, then I think you're going to have a problem because people are still going to want to go there because, again, they're lazy. They're going to go check it out, see if anybody forgot something, or if there was something that they weren't interested in, or there's any pills in your medicine cabinet, or whatever the case may be. So to me, the idea of making your house look abandoned in an SHTF situation is just a bad idea. I really believe that you're going to be inviting more people to come check your house out, see what's there, and maybe they'll think they'll squat there for the night. If they're just roaming, every night they're going to be looking for a place to sleep. They might want to try to sleep in your house if you do that, The other thing that I've heard people talk about is, they'll stack bodies out on the front lawn and everything. I think that's might be intimidating for sure, but it also might cause public health problems, and that kind of thing. It really depends on the situation and all that kind of stuff. It's definitely going to cause an increase of insects and pests and all that kind of jazz. I don't think I would want to do that personally. Now, maybe you go the more medieval route and you put their head on a pike or something, so it's not as much flesh or for the vermin to eat on or whatever, and it won't stink as bad. But that's just pretty damn medieval. So anyway, the bottom line here is the idea of the video is just to address what I think is the right solution. And obviously I think the right solution is making your property or your house look like a hard target. Preferably, you do that by working with your neighbors, by working with a prepping group or a mag or something along those lines, setting up roadblocks, controlling access to people that come in, and then when you get to your property, making it difficult to get from the property line to your house. Having a lot of snares, traps, whatever the case may be, tanglefoot, low strung barbed wire that's maybe only 6 inches up here for 25 yards. You can kind of funnel people in certain directions to your lanes of fire. Maybe you have some that are at neck height, you know what I mean? So they're looking down low, they see a couple down low and then they get one right across the neck and they're kind of trying to run in. You can do lots of different things, and all you really need is some extra old T-posts or fence posts and a couple rolls of barbed wire, or Costantino wire. If you want to get that, you can buy that stuff now on Amazon. Make sure you get the gloves too, though. But the point is you don't really need a whole lot. Down tree limbs, like I said, you can do it that way. There's lots of different ways that you can do it, and you can make it your property more difficult to access. Now you can also do that through permaculture by planting thorny bushes and different things like that now ahead of time. That's a great idea to do that, to kind of go about your landscaping plan with that in mind, so that you already have a head start on making it more difficult to get from the edge of your property into your house. Renaissance Marine. If you guys aren't subscribed to Renaissance Marine's channel, you should definitely do that. He was talking recently on one of his videos on Gunstreamer. He started a Gunstreamer account also, about having a scaffold that he's going to set up to be able to look, out at a distance and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. Even if you don't have it set up all the time, you could just have the panels and then set it up when you needed to. Pretty great idea, I thought. So anyhow, just some quick thoughts on what to do with your house. Do you want to just leave it totally normal, nondescript? Do you want to make it look like it's been abandoned and trashed, or do you want to go ahead and go the hardened route? And me personally, I think going the hardened route is the way to go, especially if you're in a chaotic situation and the whole society has been through a lot of stuff. Now, am I suggesting to you guys that the house can't be overrun? Well, no, that's silly. Any defensive position can be overrun with enough troops and enough people and enough firepower. The chances that there's going to be that sort of an organized gang, in an SHTF situation is pretty low, in my opinion. People are not going to be wanting to conform to group rules and all that kind of stuff. I don't really think so. I think most people are going to be out for their own. They're going to be in their own small groups with people that they trust, and you're probably going to be looking, in most cases, 4 to 6 people at the most. And a family of 4 who's trained in firearms, who has their house hardened, and has spent a little bit of time thinking about this stuff, can easily defend off 4 to 6 people from a hardened position, and you probably more like 10 to 15 people. Okay, if they know what they're doing, if they've got things set up correctly, you can defend off quite a few people, and so I think it's completely reasonable to try to do that. Because the alternative is, you living in a house that looks abandoned or whatever, you're not really providing yourself any advantage. You're asking to be contacted more often than not, it seems like to me. So just my thoughts, might not be worth anything. It's just an opinion, you know. That's what I'm gonna do, you know, with my family and me and my group of friends. Is we are gonna go the hardened route. So that's what I would suggest to you guys also. So anyhow, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button and to subscribe over on Gunstreamer. Really appreciate that. And over on Reality Survival, we have several emergency checklists, prepper checklists already that can be downloaded for a couple bucks each. We've got, let's see, I've got the emergency water purification guide done finally. Talks about all the different kinds of water purification. It's basically like a mini ebook. I think it's like 30 pages long. Then we've got the forest fire emergency checklist, the house fire emergency checklist, the car accident checklist, and I think I'm currently working on the hurricane checklist, and I'll be adding more and more to the list as time goes on. So head over to realitysurvival.com and check those out. And if you would like to support the channel, then you can do so over on Gunstreamer. They have a contribute us option. And then you can also just use the affiliates. And any of the advertising that you see on my website is links to our affiliates. And if you get to, say, Amazon through the link on my webpage, then it'll give us a little credit, you know, for that sale or that transaction. And I definitely appreciate it when you guys use those. So that's actually what keeps us going, what keeps us afloat. The YouTube and all that kind of stuff is just almost non-existent nowadays. So definitely appreciate your support. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you on another video here shortly.